All right, you guys, what is going on? Captain Cody Davis back again for the first time in I don't even know how long. Uh, I don't even couldn't even tell you when my last video was uploaded or what it even consisted of. If I was fishing, if I was just talking to the camera like I am on this one, I don't even know. So first, I wanted to start off by saying I want to apologize for the lack of content on the channel. Been having a lot of people reach out, phone calls, text messages, running into me at the ramp. Like, hey man, everything good? When's the next video coming out? Everything good at home? You guys okay? And everything's fine. We're gonna start off by saying that everything's good. I've just been having very bad luck, and I've been very busy. And we'll kind of break that down in this video, kind of what's been going on, and also get into like an Okeechobee report, fishing report, status, things like that. So I am trying to get this podcast thing in the works. You can see I am talking into a microphone right now. I've got a couple of different mics and some different equipment I'm playing around with to see what I like. I'm new to the whole, I'm not very tech savvy, so I'm just trying everything out. So this video will be a little trial run of kind of what the podcast would be like, I guess, because that's really what this is going to be. This is just me ranting, rambling. This video is very, non on plan, spur of the moment. I just got done talking to a bunch of different people on the phone, talking fishing. There were some tournaments out here this weekend, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to talk to the camera and make something to upload on the channel. So here we go. Something else I'm trying to get good at is I'm not a perfectionist in life at all, but when it comes to my videos, I hate listening to myself talk. I hate talking to the camera. So I have a very bad habit of like starting a video and not liking one thing I said and starting over from scratch. And with a podcast, you can't do that. So we're one-shotting this thing and rolling through it. So if I sound kind of stupid somewhere, sorry. But anyway, so basically what happened, guys, at following the storm, the lake fared very well. I was really worried about the lake, the condition it was going to be in, but it fared fine, conditioned wise. But as we all know, Lake Okeechobee bass, Florida bass in general, do not do well with change at all. So not only did we get hit with a massive hurricane, we also had our first cold front of the year follow literally the day behind it. And on top of that, our lake was rising at a record level. I mean, faster than we've ever seen it before. Just billions of gallons of water making its way into the lake every day. So these fish were kind of shocked, I believe. And following after the storm, that week of fishing was some of the toughest fishing I've ever encountered in my life, and definitely on Lake Okeechobee. It was just super tough, very random. People were winning little club tournaments with like two fish. Like, it wasn't just me struggling. Lots of people struggling on this lake. And we kind of just jotted it down to the ton of water coming into the lake, the cold front, the fish were in shock kind of thing. And I believe that was the case. And then what happened was I had a 5-day period where I had 5 days off until I left to go to the Smoky Mountains on a vacation, me and Breezy and Lake. And I was on the phone with Kelly and I was telling him how I was struggling. And I was like, man, you know what? I think I'm just going to not go to the lake for these 5 days. I'm off. I'll go do some saltwater fishing, go do something like that. Go to the mountains, go on vacation, take time away from the lake, and come back with a fresh mind. And that's what I did. Didn't go, went to the pier a couple times, did some snook fishing, did stuff around the house. Went to Georgia, tried to kill a deer. We didn't shoot nothing. We took off to the mountains for 5 days. Beautiful weather, enjoyed just awesome scenery, just winded down. Nice to go up there and relax. It was a great time. Brought the camera equipment, was going to try and do some trout fishing on camera or something. Did lots of trout fishing, did very little trout catching, so didn't make a video out of that. Then on our way back, we stopped in Georgia for opening rifle season weekend and didn't kill anything, but saw lots of deer. And again, it was just great to just sit in the woods and be quiet and be still, and it was awesome. Come back, got back into town. I had 2 off days before I had to go back to work. And instead of going out there, I just caught up on things around the house. I almost wanted to take as much time off the lake as possible. First day back to work, I picked my customer up and I explained to him this is literally my first day back out on the lake in weeks. And we had a great day. Went to an area that I traditionally like to fish this time of year. The day was a little cool. I had sweatpants on and a sweatshirt. It was blowing out of the northeast pretty good, overcast a little bit. We're catching fish that were either spawning or setting up to spawn. Caught a couple nice big females, a lot of small males, isolated arrowheads, isolated grass. Caught them on a swim jig, caught them on a big easy, caught them on a Trixie shark, just the way you should. Bada bing, bada boom, left there. Went and flipped some chop grass mats. He loses like a 6-7 pounder. Catch a couple stagers. Go to another area, pitch some reeds, do good. Like I said, this felt good. Like everywhere we went, we got bit at least, and they were kind of in areas where I thought they should have been. Awesome. And then the next day, I had another trip, completely different conditions. Very hot, very still. Caught some fish, but not as good as the day before. So then my next 4 trips were not on the lake. I ran like a tarpon trip, a snakehead trip, a peacock trip. Then I think I had a day off. And then I went back out on the lake, dead still, almost 90 degrees, and just stagnant and hot. And I think I ran 2 trips that were just super difficult. Again, we're in almost November at this time. So I'm in the back. I'm throwing a Trixie shark or a horny toad. I'm throwing a Gambler Easy Swimmer. I'm throwing the skinny dipper. I'm throwing the swim jig. I'm dragging a Senko or a speedworm around isolated reed stalks like we should be doing this time of year. And not getting bit. And I was on a trip and I ended up calling Mike Krause from Fishing Headquarters and talking to him about some things. And then he ended up telling me about some fish in the Kissimmee River to take my customers to. Crank the boat up. I run up the river, put the trolling motor in the water, and I tell my guys, I'm not lying to you. Not only have I never caught a bass in the Kissimmee River, I've never had a bite. And I make my living on this body of water every day. We laughed about it, but then we ended up catching fish there. So thank you, Mike Krause. Caught some nice fish. Like felt really good to catch some good fish, put them on some fish. The next day, I start my next trip there on that same spot, and we catch some good ones. But then they ended up slowing the water flow down coming into the lake, which changed the current, and it got very tough. Keep in mind, there was a big tournament coming up. So today is Saturday night. There was a tournament Friday, Saturday, 2-day that ended today. And then there's the Bass Busters tournament that's Saturday, Sunday. So lots of tournaments going on. Lots of boats running around, lots of boats practicing, lots of boats in the Kissimmee River area, or not the area, in the river. And not only did the current slow down, the fish were getting beat up really bad. So the next day or so and day or two, I ended up going in the river and it just got progressively worse. Go out into the lake and same thing. Just a couple areas where I can get a bite or two, but man, it is tough. And now that it's been a couple days, and I fished out there today. Ended up fishing today. We caught like 7 fish. A couple on a Trixie, a couple on an easy, one on a speedworm, and a couple flipping some junk mats. The more people I've talked to that either did well in this tournament, or I talked to some different people, some that are in Bass Busters, some that were in the Extreme tournament. Us Okeechobee locals, we get very fixated in our ways, right? Like we know, like, okay, they moved in, it was cool. These fish are going to be wanting to spawn, they're spawning, we got to fish that way. But then we literally had summertime conditions for a week. It was hot as hell, no wind, water was very stagnant, water temperature was rising every hour. And I really think what happened was, and I think what's going on right now, is these fish are back in summertime mode. We say they came all the way to the back and now they're all the way to the outside. The difference on Okeechobee from the outside grass to the way in the back grass is like 150, 200 yards some places. So it's nothing for those fish to just pull back out and go back onto the outside like they were in the summer. And that's where I believe these fish are. The guys that won the Extreme tournament after 2 days, they had a 25-pound day and a 14-pound day. Mixed in schoolers and pitching reeds, I heard. Little birdie told me. So I talked to a lot of boats that were telling me about schooling fish on the outside. And it wasn't just one area. And then I talked to people that were having good practice because I wasn't in these tournaments, right? So I'm not fishing against either party or any people. So I was like, hey, and I'm not going to be fishing your stuff with clients. Just what's going on out there? Are you getting bit? And everyone who's doing good is focusing more towards that main lake. And it kind of dawned on me like, duh, you know, they were in the back. They were doing the spawning thing. But at the end of the day, it's hot now. It's summertime. These fish are, they're going to fit, you got to fish the conditions, which I was not doing over the past week or so. And everyone I'm talking to, they're mixing in a spinnerbait, like I said, a rattle trap, a crankbait, catching them schooling, throwing a white swim jig. Like people were literally fishing a shad spawn this week and doing very well. And I think that's what's going on right now, guys. As of right now, until we get a cold front or two to move in, these fish are just kind of roaming around, still kind of schooled up and getting ready to do their thing. On top of that, there was a 10-pounder caught today in the extreme, along with I think two other eights. I don't know what big fish for Bass Busters was, but a lot of people are telling me they're catching a lot of dinks. Like I was just got off the phone, had an hour and a half conversation with my buddy Garrett Rockamora. A lot of you probably know that name, Kissimmee Hammer. He's a full-time guide now. I recommend a lot of you guys to him that want to go fish the Winter Haven chain, Kissimmee, Toho, Headwaters. The dude's a hammer. And he fished the extreme down here on Okeechobee, and he had like 15 a day or something, which doesn't sound great, but it was pretty good for what was going on. And he talked to people that were catching 100 fish a day, just all small. And it was how hard it was to get a big bite is what we were talking about. And I really think these big fish are still offshore. They're still living out in the lake, and they haven't come in yet because they don't have to. And they're not going to come in and spawn. It's 85-degree water. So the big key, big tip, don't fish past. Fish the conditions, that's what I haven't been doing. So when we get a cold front or two, they're going to start coming in. You're going to start catching them your traditional wintertime ways out here. Dragging a swimming worm around isolated stuff, flipping mats if that's what you like to do, throwing the big easy. But until then, right now, you got to treat it like August. You could probably go out there and flip a 1-ounce jig and get bit, I'm sure. So that's kind of what, what's going on out on Okeechobee right now. The lake itself, it's at like 16 and a quarter foot or something, I believe. The water is ridiculously high, guys. And I don't know. I think that's also making it difficult in its own way for a couple reasons. One, it's dispersing the fish. But two, you got to remember the higher the water is, the easier the water dirties up in the back, if that makes sense, right? Like, whereas it would take a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind blowing in an area to make it dirty, now it takes like an 8 mile an hour wind because there's more water to move, right? And it'll push that dirty water in. The funny thing about right now is, so you guys have probably heard me mention lately the red water, right? It's like a very deep ruby red tannic water. That's like and I don't know, I'm not a marine biologist. I don't know what all goes into making the water very red, but I know it's like a tannic. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Stagnant water. I think it's very low on oxygen. And I really do my best to avoid it on Okeechobee. We really get it when they start pumping a lot of water into the lake from a rain event. But over the past like 2 weeks, the whole lake was red, almost. Not the whole lake, but a lot of it. We just had so much water dumping in. It was like overtaking what was already in there. But as of today, I did get into some areas where the more normal looking lake water was coming in, right? And mixing with the red water and making it look normal again. So hopefully that's going to help. On top of that, another thing is, I'm an Okeechobee local. I fish Okeechobee every day. I notice these small differences in the water color and the conditions, whereas a lot of these people from this extreme tournament were from out of town, right? They don't fish Okeechobee regularly. So where I roll up and go, oh, this water's a little funny colored than it usually is, they just roll up and imagine that's just how it always is and fish it that way and fish with confidence and fish like there should be fish there. And I really think that's what helped some of these guys do very well. Like, I think we're our own worst enemies sometimes, like we're like, oh, the water doesn't typically look like that. And, it might not supposed to look like that, but the fish got to live in it because it's everywhere and they couldn't avoid it anymore. So I think I got in my own head a lot and tried to avoid that red water too much. If you can avoid it and still find productive areas with productive looking water, do it. But if you're just running to other areas and then you end up fishing areas that have the right water in it, but they're unproductive areas, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And I think that's what I was doing. Um, I really thought a lot of the big weights were going to come from the canals or the river systems that feed off of Lake Okeechobee, but it turns out they didn't. The fish are in the lake. I just wasn't. I haven't been fishing it correctly. So, with that being said, the entire lake is fishable right now, even the south end somehow. There is some clean water down there. There's clean water everywhere you want to look. You just gotta. It kind of moves around right now. The pockets of clean water, but people are fishing from Pelican Bay to Henry Creek. I mean, all the way around. It's all fishable. It's all very high, and it's dispersing a lot of these fish, I believe, and spreading them out. But you could literally catch a bass anywhere in the lake right now. It's just you don't know when or how they're going to come. What it seemed like to me was talking to a lot of these guys that were fishing the rivers and stuff that have the live scope, forward facing sonar, side scan, and are good with all that stuff. Um, they're looking at the fish, and they are bass, but they just will not eat. And we had a lot of instances over the past week of work where like reeling that easy on top, and these fish are sharking to come get it, and they'll either A, just not eat it, whether you kill it or keep it moving, or B, when they do hit it, they don't eat it. It's more just like a grab the tail or the feet and not eat the bait, which is I've never ran into it to this degree where there's that many fish not committing to the lure. Even people that I was talking to that were catching schoolers on rattle traps and stuff, barely hooked with that trip. I mean, barely hooked. So it's like almost like they're just shut down right now. They're not really wanting to feed. At the end of the day, though, there was a 10 and 2/8 caught today, right? There was a couple mid 20-pound bags, which is good, especially with 250 boats on the lake. And like Kelly always says, it can't suck for that long. I think we're supposed to get some wind this week. It's going to make it a little difficult to fish during the wind, but I think after the wind, it's going to move a lot of bait around. It's going to make them bite. And we need some cool weather. The cool weather, again, it's going to shut them down for a couple days when the temperature drops initially, but that slow come up is going to help. You got to remember, Lake Okeechobee shines or does really well when the water gets down low into the low 60s, high 50s, and then you get that warming trend, right? Where it starts every day, it comes up 3 degrees, right? And it's gradually warming. Those fish like that. But when the water only got down to 72, that's still warm. And now it just shot back up. So we were on that warming trend, and everyone was like, oh, they're going to chew. But the water was just getting hot at that point. It wasn't warming up because it didn't get cold enough to really shut the fish down for any period of time. And I think that's what made it really difficult. But it is what it is. I might even go out there tomorrow. I'm actually off tomorrow. I'm debating what I want to do. Do I want to just sleep in? Do I want to do yard work, or do I want to go out there on the lake? I told myself today I'm not going back out there today. I got to be out there all week, but I might go. So I don't know what the next video you guys are going to see from me will be. But it'll be something. As of right now, you know, you can catch them, like I said, anywhere. I think the fish are still in summertime mode, but the first cold front we get is going to change that up, and I think it's going to be changing it for the better. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to book trips, I want to apologize to everyone who's been trying to get a hold of me also. I am a pain in the ass to get a hold of. I am the worst multitasker on planet Earth. So, like, if I'm tying my shoe and you call, I can't answer the phone because I can't do two things at once. So, text me, call me. If I leave me a voicemail and then text me. Cody, my name is Abraham Lincoln. I want to book a trip with you. Do you have these dates? And like, I don't open the text until I get home and I look at my book and it's like answered him. He's booked up, and like I have to do that because my worst fear in life is overbooking or telling someone, yep, I'm good, we're good to go, and I never write you down. Now you fly in from Wyoming and you call me, or like, where are we meeting in the morning? And I'm down in the Keys, right? So that's how I have to work my job. It's how it works for me. I know there's a lot of you that I could do it while ordering a coffee. You guys can book trips. I'm not that person. So I know I'm a pain in the ass to get a hold of. Give me a call, shoot me a text. I will get back to you. I think the lake's going to be good this year. We're going to have a lot of water to fish. They finally slowed down a lot of the water coming in, so hopefully they start letting some water out. But I really do think it's going to be a good spawn. I'm booking into February right now. That doesn't mean I don't have dates in December and January open. I do, but call sooner than later and get your deposits in. And that's about it. I apologize for the lack of content. I really want to grow this channel, guys. I really want to start putting 2 or 3 videos out a week. With a 6-month-old, a wife, a house, and farm animals, 2 dogs, work, life, it's difficult. This is not my full-time job at all. Fishing is. And when I get home, I'm beat. So I do want to grow it. I do want to start trying to get on a regular schedule, but bear with me. That's what I was going to say. Like, I've been out twice since I've been back fishing with the cameras, and just I have nothing to show for it. Like, they're just not enthusiastic days. They're not great days. So I don't put them up. I need to start putting them up so you guys see like even the bad days I go through. But it's one thing if I have a game plan and I go and dial it in and do it and I have a bad day, at least like I followed my game plan. These 2 days I was out there filming, like I didn't know where I was going to stop my boat or if I was even going to get a bite because I felt lost on Lake Okeechobee for the first time in forever. But I think now I'm starting to dial it in a little better. I think I have a better idea after making many phone calls and fishing for information. I think I finally have a grip on what's going on out there. So like that's what makes me want to go out there tomorrow and try to put the new information I have to good use. So we'll see. But either way, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate just checking in with you guys. Hopefully everything's good with all of you. Like and subscribe. Hopefully the videos start coming a lot more frequently. And podcast is on the way. That's about all I got. I guess I'm going to go curl up in bed and go to sleep because Breezy is in Georgia trying to kill a deer and she brought the baby with her. So I am a bachelor for the night. I don't have to wake up and feed any bottles. So I might sleep till 3 o'clock tomorrow or I might wake up at 6 a.m. and go fishing. We'll see. But either way, I will see you guys on the next one. Also, I know I keep saying I'm going to leave and I don't. In the comments of this video, if you guys are still with me listening, write down or leave comments any questions you guys would like me to answer or topics, right? That's kind of what my podcast is going to be. Is this going to be like this? I mean, just rambling and talking. I would talk longer, but I just got off of an hour, 41-minute conversation with Garrett Rockamora, so my voice is gone. But leave in the comments any subjects, any videos you'd like to see me do, anything. I'm constantly looking for what you guys want to watch, so let me know on that. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Tight lines. Definitely be safe out there no matter where you're fishing. And you guys have a good one. I'll check in with you guys on the next one. Sorry, guys. Got one more thing for you. I've plugged my buddy Matt's YouTube channel a couple of times here in my videos. It's Matt W. Fishing on YouTube. Puts out great content. He's probably the most passionate bass fisherman in the entire world. And I mean that. Like, I always say no one loves this sport more than me, but he might. Like, I could probably call him right now and say, 2009 Bassmasters Classic, who got 16th and what size tungsten was he using on his on his bait? And he'd probably be able to tell me. Like, he's a bass nerd. But a badass fisherman, does very well. He actually fishes the Toyota series, and he did okay on the one out here. He ended up going to Santee Cooper and getting second, and he just fished the championship this weekend on Lake Gunnersville and took home a 4th place finish on top of Angler of the Year for his region. So he took home like almost $40,000. Just, I think it was his first time to Gunnersville, and he dialed it in. So super happy for him. I grew up fishing tournaments with him when we were literally like 14, and we fish against each other and fished with tournaments with each other to this day. So super, super stoked for him. Awesome achievement. But the reason I'm plugging it is because I know for a fact he has this all on GoPro. So, might be something cool if you guys are all, any of you that are watching this are local Lake Okeechobee guys or Florida fishermen. You can see how a Florida fisherman went out of state and did very good, how he dialed it in, because I'm sure he'll show that whole process on his channel. It's Matt W. Fishing. He kills it. So congrats, Matt, again. I know I've texted you like 50 times already, but I'll see you when you get back. But definitely check out his channel, not just for this video, but he spends a lot of time on Okeechobee, does a lot of the deep water lakes in Florida. He travels a lot more than me, and he just has some solid content. So definitely go check that out.